All right. As some of you may know, in January, Los Angeles experienced some of its most horrific and traumatic wildfires in state history. And Trump, instead of comforting us, offering words of hope and kindness, took to social media and attacked our governor, berated us, and in fact blamed us for these fires by saying that we do not sweep the forests, and if we only turned on the water, none of these problems would be happening. Big deal, right? Regular stuff. Well, on Monday, January 28th, he posted that he had sent the military in and turned on the water. And he wrote something like, "You're welcome, I solved it." Well, obviously this was a lie. So state officials immediately responded and said, no military came in here. No water was turned on. Some pumps were down for maintenance. They were turned back on. No big deal, right? Well, Trump is not a guy who enjoys being publicly contradicted. So on Friday, January 31st, he sent in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers into Northern California without speaking to any state officials, without consulting anybody. No prior notice. Everybody was taken off guard. And they forced open two of our dams, releasing 1.6 billion gallons of water into a lake 4 hours away from here. Let me just make this very clear. We, down here in Southern California, never got any of that water. It was dumped into a lake 4 hours away. 1.6 billion gallons. That is a lot of water. Do you know what we need that water for? We need it for our farmers. As many of you know, California is a major agricultural force. We produce more than 3/4 of this country's fruit and nuts. We produce more than 1/3 of all vegetables, 20% of all milk. Many things you see on your supermarket shelves come from us. And also, we have very long, very hot and dry summers due to climate change. We do not get enough water. In fact, this winter, it has only rained one time. So it's pretty clear that this summer is going to be brutal. And we need those massive reservoirs when things are super hot and dry to irrigate those crops to keep them alive so that people can eat. 1.6 billion gallons of water were dumped because somebody did not like being contradicted. Now, this is really, really bad in and of itself, but there is another piece of information that I just found out that I had no idea about. And I'm going to read this to you now. This was posted by Trump on Truth Social. I do not have Trump Social. I do not have Truth Social, obviously, right? The day that the water was released, this is what he posted. Today, 1.6 billion gallons, and in 3 days, it will be 5.2 billion gallons. Everybody should be happy about this long-fought victory! Exclamation point. I did not see this. Now, it is very difficult with this guy sometimes to know what is truth and what is bluster. But if this is accurate, and he means this, he is planning to come back into our state and release more of our water. And that, I promise you, will be absolutely catastrophic for our food supply. We already have tariffs coming in all over the place from all over the world. Our food supply is about to be majorly disrupted. I would like anybody who's a bit more knowledge about this to perhaps speak on this. Any lawyers out here? Is he legally allowed to touch our water? Farmers, everybody in Northern California, Southern California, all over the place. You have to understand we are all in this together. This affects us greatly. I literally don't even know what to say. This is very frightening. And it feels like senseless, targeted revenge on a state that has rejected him over and over again. I want to hope for the best, but it's difficult. This video earlier was deemed too controversial, but I don't believe facts are controversial. And I will be speaking about this and making noise about this because the thing is, a lot of times when people have eyes on something, it can't be done in the dark. And in the immortal words of Sheree, Who gon' check me, boo?
Breaking news. Donald J. Trump opened 2 dams in California that he believed would help LA with the fires. None of the water actually went to LA. 2, farmers on Twitter and other places, social media, the news, are complaining and outraged because the water from the dams flooded their farmlands. This is per Twitter. Just go to Twitter, go to the Explore page, go down like 1 block, then click dams in California. Or water flow. Type in water flow in California. Dams open in California. There's literally threads of people who are pissed off in the Central Valley because their farmlands were flooded. And all Trump said is, oh, they should have listened to me 6 years ago. They should be happy. Listen, I'm not left leaning at all. I am a partaker in common sense. And this was stupid as fuck. So, I'm not conservative either. This was just dumb.
President Trump has just inserted himself into a very, very wild California water story. Ever since the fire started, the president was basically like, look, Gov, you could fix this whole problem with a turn of a valve if you didn't care so much about the fish. Except the problem is there isn't a pipeline from the north to Southern California. So then the other day, federal officials opened up 2 Central Valley California dams. And now local officials are nervous about flooding, and they're worried that the water will be wasted. Trump says everyone should be happy about this, and he calls it a victory. Here's the thing, though. The water is not reaching Southern California. So far, a lot of the water has been sent to low-lying land in Central Valley. According to the president, at least about 1.6 billion gallons of water. The Times reports that water managers usually try to release as little water as they possibly can to make sure that there's enough for farmers and residents later in the year. When it comes to the fires in Southern California, the reason the hydrants went dry is because it's just impossible for them to fight so many fires at the same time, according to the Times. And the reservoir was empty not because of a lack of water supply, but because of maintenance issues. So then all of this leads to the governor of California releasing his own executive order to capture and store more water in the upcoming storms.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next, we have designation of Rick Grinnell, to be your envoy for special missions.
I sent him to California to turn on the water. We turned it on. It was not easy because we had to go through a lot of environmentalists that are causing a lot of problems. And we have billions of gallons of water. It was on 3 days ago. You probably saw. It should have gotten a lot of press, but it didn't get much. All we're doing is giving Los Angeles and the entire state of California virtually unlimited water, which they could have done 5 years ago, which I told them they should do, but the environmentalists stopped them. And we opened it, and we did it regardless of the state. And now the state seems to be very happy. I spoke with Gavin Newsom, and he's very happy. I always called him by the other name, but my little nickname for him. But I think they're all happy. They have a lot of water in California. Too bad we didn't have it about 2 months ago, right?
Right.
That was, by the way, that was a big move. We have, I don't know if you saw the pictures that were released of the water pouring down from the Pacific Northwest and Canada and lots of other places. And it's a pretty amazing sight.
Mr. President, Rick Grinnell had a big Friday trip as well.
He had a very big Friday trip. You really? We'll talk about that. He's a good man, Rick.
Lastly, sir, we have a designation of Mark Burnett as your special envoy to the United Kingdom.